Hello, I'm Deacon Duncan Harris, and welcome to the second session of Love and Honor Your Neighbor, part 2 of the first theme of Catholic social teaching. In the first session, Father Jim talked about how we got started with this program based on a banner. I really liked the banner and what it said about the 7 themes of Catholic social teaching, but somehow putting up this banner without going deeper just would not do justice to its true meaning. As the people of God, we're called to uphold the dignity of all people, to be peacemakers, to work for change when injustice threatens human dignity, and just seeing a banner is not enough. Reflecting on the theme of human dignity and peacemaking, I'm struck by how much we're bombarded by stories, signs, advertising, and messages that threaten human dignity for all. Messages like, "You earn this," "Might makes right," "Everyone is responsible for themselves," "Have it your way," "I did it my way." In society, we are fiercely honoring independence and often measure success in terms of economic status and titles. And it's easy to lose sight of our Christian values. This passage from Mark puts our priorities where they should be. He says, "Which is the first of all commandments?" And Jesus replied, "You shall love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your soul, with all your mind, and with all your strength. The second is this, you shall love your neighbor as yourself. There are no greater commandments than these." My wife Carol and I have 2 adult sons who are a blessing to us. I remember when they were quite young, and they could be very challenging. They were always questioning. They questioned why they could not do one thing or another, and complained that we had too many rules. I remember both of us sitting down with them and explaining that they needed only to remember a few things. First and primary, was it safe? Was it honest? Was it respectful of others and themselves? And what would God think? We explained that all the other rules came back to these basic tenets. After explaining this to them, they would later run into the house and ask about something they wanted to do, and we would remind them of the basic tenets, and of course they would roll their eyes and walk away. So did they get into trouble and do things they weren't supposed to? Of course, they were boys. However, even today they mention that although they didn't say it at the time, they appreciated how we helped them understand better limits, rules, and the values behind them. Today, despite the best efforts I've made, I still find I must challenge myself to fully embrace a concept that is so central to our Christian faith, that we are all made in the image and likeness of God. And with all the chaos, hate, discrimination in the world, it's hard to understand how God can be present in each and every person. For myself, I know that when I have trouble seeing this, the problem is with my vision and not God's. We are charged to honor and value all people without exception. This is such a critical tenet of our faith, and it has startling and immense implications. All people created by God must be treated with dignity and respect, regardless of race, color, gender, sexual orientation, nationality, or any way we separate or classify people. We're called to embrace all, to be peacemakers, and to extend care to everyone. This is reinforced in John's Gospel when he says, "Peace I leave you, my peace I give you. I do not give to you as the world gives. Do not let your hearts be troubled, and do not let them be afraid." Dr. Martin Luther King challenged us to envision a world where we truly love and care for one another, regardless of boundaries and differences. Through our scientific and technological genius, we've made this world a neighborhood, yet we have not yet had the ethical commitment to make it a brotherhood. But somehow, in some way, we've got to do this. We must all learn to live together as brothers, or we'll all perish as fools. We are tied together in a single garment of destiny. caught in an inescapable network of mutuality. And whatever affects one directly affects all indirectly. For some strange reason, I can never be what I ought to be until you are what you ought to be. And you can never be what you ought to be until I am what I ought to be. This is the way God's universe is made. This is the way it is structured. Again from Martin Luther King in 1965. Such powerful words. We're all tied together in a single garment of destiny, caught in an inescapable network of mutuality. We're called to love and honor our neighbor, to be the person we ought to be so that all can be the people they were destined to be. That charge means that we must challenge systems, policies, economics, policing, and all structures in society which seek to disadvantage or marginalize others for any reason. We live in a divided world and country. People have been denied many rights based on race, sex, and sexual orientation. This goes against how our faith calls us to act. We need to be cognitive of the impact of our own words and actions and lack of actions. What are our actions in building up the community and honoring the human dignity of all persons? Are we building bridges, or are we building or maintaining walls? Do our actions help build a lasting peace between peoples? Are we nurturing meaningful relationships? Relationship lies at the very heart of peacemaking. Relationship to one another is central to the teaching and actions of Jesus, who taught us to love our neighbors as ourselves. This sense of connectedness means that we're all called to be peacemakers. We must embrace the wider world as our neighborhood and recognize we're all part of the same human family. Jesus taught, "Blessed are the peacemakers, for they shall be called children of God." Peacemakers are called children of God. What relationship could be more fundamental, more essential than that of a child to a parent? In the Beatitudes, Jesus is stressing the truth that peacemaking is relational. Peacemakers form relationships with those who are different from them, those who disagree with them, those who can see the other. Without relationship, there can be no peace. Pope Francis highlights this in his address at World Day of Peace on January 1st. The world does not need more empty words. It needs committed, active peacemakers who do not exclude or manipulate, but are open to respectful dialogue. Recognizing and honoring the dignity of the human person is hard, difficult, and necessary work. It is natural and easy to do what is best for ourselves and to look the other way when others face injustice, cruelty, or poverty. However, this is the work that we're all called to. We can feel this pull in the innermost being of our hearts. The impulse to love and support those who are in need is God working within us, helping us to understand that we're all linked together as God's family. We all share the dignity of God, and we must honor and respect that. Let us use the words of Pope Francis to seek the grace of conversion. Let these words of Jesus resound in our hearts. Blessed are the peacemakers, for they shall be called sons of God. Let us ask sincerely for forgiveness for all the times which we have caused division or misunderstanding within our communities, knowing well that communion is not achieved except through constant conversion. What is conversion? It is asking the Lord for the grace not to speak ill, not to criticize, not to gossip, to love everyone. It is grace which the Lord gives us. This is what it means to convert the heart. And let us ask that the daily fabric of our relationships may become an ever more beautiful and joyous reflection of the relationship between Jesus and the Father.